Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at the hidden changes this patch, what's behind the obvious stuff, and I actually think we might have an answer to Yasuo, Riven, and Fiora this patch. Well, maybe not an answer, but it's going to make our lives a lot easier. I'm going to put a summary at the end of this video, so if you want a short version, skip on to that, but let's get started. I'm guessing with how everybody hates Yasuo and Riven, you want to find out that first, so let's start with the new Bramble Vest. This is a 900 gold counter to anybody who wants to heal, who builds a lot of lifesteal, or actually, well, anybody who just doesn't kill you with burst damage. If it takes them a while to kill you, that's a good way of thinking about it. Now, when we look at Riven and Fiora especially, like these more than others, actually, they stack lifesteal, normally at least 2 items, sometimes even 3 actually, so suddenly you're cutting their way to survive. They don't build defense really, right? They build lifesteal and they heal back the damage instead of preventing it. That's kind of their defense mechanic. This is making that worse basically. It makes them a lot easier to kill. Fiora even more actually, because she's getting a nerf this patch, but you have like auto attack healing, your lifesteal, vital healing, plus your ultimate healing. All of that is now 40% worse this patch when you're against a Thor or a Vest. It's just a little thing here that will help you when you play against them. It's not going to kill the champion or anything. It doesn't just remove them. It's not like a hard counter, but it's definitely a hidden nerf for these champions. Moving on to Yasuo, you could honestly play with one of your hands down your pants and you would still beat Yasuo early. Almost all of the time they are awful. His kit isn't designed to be good in lane, but it's their late game that gets ridiculous. We'll get into Stoneplate in a second, but Bramble Vest means he can't just endlessly have massive heals with this Bloodthirster crit. Whether you realize it or not, yes, he kills you, he does a lot of damage and stuff, but he's just so hard to kill because he's always critting, so he's always healing for a ton. We cut that by 40% for 900 gold, right? Suddenly he's a lot easier to kill, he can't dance around, and he can't outplay us as much. If you're a Riven against a Yasuo, for example, quite a common matchup, if you slot this into your build somewhere, he'll be much easier for you to 1v1. Also, by the way, if you combine Thor plus Stoneplate as well with the new Grievous Wounds, cutting, healing, you can survive a lot easier as well if you play a tanky champion. Thor is going to reflect a good amount of damage. He won't heal for as much. It also reduces his attack speed, plus Stoneplate will up your health anyway and give you even more armor if you're in a team fight. This same thing applies to anybody who attacks a ton like that. Tryndamere being probably the most popular like second option. Now another thing is kind of the same, but not really. So, well, in general, okay, the new Thor and Gargoyle Stoneplate together is ridiculous. The Stoneplate gives you 40 armor and 40 more actually when you're around 3 or more enemies, right? So 80 armor is pretty decent. Thor giving you 75. There's 2 things with this. So Thor deals damage based on your bonus armor now, and actually we have quite a lot. So you're going to do more reflection damage and just hopefully be more annoying. You're also going to last longer in a fight. It doubles your health. There's more time to reflect. Obviously, that's a good thing with Thor because if you don't have any other defensive items, sure, you're going to deal with reflection damage anyway, but you're going to die really fast. You want to be able to survive at least for a little while, so the reflection damage adds up to a decent amount. This kind of lets you do that. The synergy between the two is actually pretty sick, and it's going to suck for any AD carry or auto-based champion. Also suck for even more for Yasuo, Riven, and Fiora. Now, there are 2 types of champions who get a massive hidden buff from this more than others right now. Bruisers who stack health, or tanks, especially in the jungle. One of them is going to kill you, and the other one is just never going to die. Both very fun options. So for the Bruisers, what I'm talking about is like Jarvan, Jax, Kled, basically Black Cleaver into Titanic Hydra and tanky afterwards. Well, like a health stacking tanky anyway. You actually have a lot of damage with this build because you have the Black Cleaver arm penetration, you have the Titanic damage, you have the auto reset your kit and stuff, but you're actually going to be doing a lot more damage with the Titanic the more health you stack. You're also hard to kill anyway, but now that's probably going to be even worse, I think. So Thor gives you health now where it didn't before, so you actually have more Titanic damage. You can jump into fights, you can use your cooldowns, blow everything. For Jarvan, for example, you EQ in, you auto attack once for your passive damage and use your ultimate, and then you activate Stoneplate. Then after that, so after the duration is done, your cooldowns are back up again. You're still alive and you can keep beating them down. It's kind of perfect. I hope you can kind of see the synergy is actually insane on semi-tank, semi-damage champions. Now the other one, jungle tanks, right? Obviously Thor is even better in a full tank build where you don't die at all and you bounce back even more damage over a longer period of time. If you throw in a locket as well, it makes you last even longer because you get this massive shield. So I think like the ideal tank build at the moment in the jungle would contain something like this. Cinderhulk first, 20% bonus health as well. Like you're lasting even longer with Thor. It gives you more health overall, more damage back. It's an absolutely ridiculous item right now. Then you have the Stoneplate and the Thor in there somewhere as well, probably like 3rd and 4th. You got 2 items left. I think either it'll be like Locket and Warmogs together would be nuts for just not dying. You have loads of health and that Locket shield is going to be massive. Deadman's and Abyssal Mask though would be more damage for you, more magic resist, more armor, and more damage for your team. The main champions I think they get a buff. Like honestly, honestly, Maokai is going to break out soon with this. I really hope he does. As a jungler, he's actually very good now. I know you probably think I'm mad, like I'm going crazy and saying this over and over again just because I want it to be true, but like honestly, legit, Moby Boots and running around ganking is so good on Maokai. He's a really good team fighter. Zac and Nunu, Sejuani as well for sure, like maybe Rammus, maybe Gragas with this build. You've also got the hybrid ones in the jungle too, remember, like Jarvan and Warwick would be the main ones actually who build Cinderhulk and then damage after. If you get Cinderhulk and then like Titanic, maybe a Cleaver as well, Stoneplate and Thormail, that would be so sick this patch. Just to point out, by the way, all of this actually buffs the mid lane role more in my opinion, because AP champions are the ones who kind of need to kill these champions like this, so really AP damage is worth more and more important, if that makes sense. Leandries as well, doing percentage damage, obviously, like that is definitely something you want to slot into your build more now. That's enough tank stuff I think for now. So AD carries, there might be a bit of a meta shift because of this other stuff as well. So mainly there are like 4 things I think. Number 1, assassins will be better at killing us. Duskblade is awesome. Lethality scales to their level now, so mid laners are normally higher than us, means more damage. Also, there's going to be more arm pen on lethality items anyway, so there's even more chance to get rid of our armor completely and do a lot of true damage. The Singe changes are another one. Your passive means that he can like speed past the rest of the team. Your W grounding means we can't flash away from him. I think when you play this guy properly, it'll be impossible not to get flipped by him, honestly, and that's pretty dangerous. Thormail is obviously going to be one of them. Grievous Wounds means our lifesteal is worse. We have to play a bit safer. Probably they're going to stack more armor as well because of the Thormail kind of encouraging it. If we have more tanks in the jungle, that's better protection for us actually, some more crowd control to lock down the enemy team, which is really good, but also more lockdown on us, so it works both ways. Finally, Cho'Gath actually, if he does become popular, he has a lot of damage, which is burst, but he has a silence and a knockup. Basically, if you get hit by one of those 2 things, then the other one is guaranteed to hit and you're dead. It kind of sucks actually. Overall, I guess to sum that up, there's a lot of new crowd that's going to kill us this patch, so all it means is we've got to play a little bit differently. We've got to adapt to keep ourselves alive. The last few patches, we could pump out a lot of damage. It was really fun actually. It might not work the same way now, and last time this happened when lethality was broken, we had mobility stuff, so like mobile champions. Lucian is one of the safest ADs to play, but not like the highest damage output later, which is why he wasn't as good for the last few patches, but that might not matter as much now. Caitlyn is very safe, and even Tristana is like the ultimate safe champion, plus the build is in a really good spot. Jhin is another one though, who could actually use Duskblade for an earlier power spike, I think. The build for him is already really good anyway, though. He can stay at range with his ultimate, so he doesn't have to get close to assassins. He also has a crap ton of burst damage with his crits, which is actually better versus low health rather than tanks, so he's good in this kind of bruiser assassin meta, I think. Those ones get like a hidden buff in my opinion, but some are going to be getting a nerf. Twitch could go either way. One hand, you have your invisibility, so assassins can't really target you, but on the other hand, you're immobile and weak early to roam, so you're definitely going to die more. Jinx is immobile and such an easy target. Draven, kind of the same thing, weak to crowd control and burst. Ashe is another very easy target to pick on. Even Zaya needs some time to do some damage, which you won't have as much of, but at least you could probably survive. For assassins in the general game, like we just talked about obviously AD carry meta, but now for the rest of it, like Duskblade was a definite like big, less obvious buff to Zed, Talon, and Kha'Zix. Talon can jump in once, proc the damage, ultimate, and then proc the damage again, so it deals about 700 bonus damage to his combo now. Kha'Zix can actually use this 3 times, which is ridiculous, about 1,000 extra damage, and Zed applies it on his ultimate pop because it's now physical, so it's actually a lot more damage. We also have more lethality, remember, like the items do. It's a bit better in the game anyway, much better mid game actually, and also we have a good synergy with Black Cleaver as it's now physical damage, so you'll do more overall if you can proc it multiple times anyway. Those 3 coming back a little bit, or just lethality in general being better, is going to mean a few things for the mid lane, so other assassins are going to be better as well. It tends to be a skill matchup when you play assassin versus assassin, so normally they're actually good versus each other. Like if Zed comes back, I'd expect Echo and Fizz as well, maybe even Akali and Katarina. Jace might be pretty decent with Duskblade anyway, and he's also kind of a good assassin counter actually. Well, he bullies the crap out of them, right, and normally has a really good win rate versus them all. To be honest though, I reckon Talon is the real winner. He is so good in assassin matchups. He actually wants an assassin meta to be effective. He might break out even more than Zed this patch, I think, for sure. Like I would keep an eye on him top and mid lane and probably abuse him with a Duskblade rush. Mage wise though, for the rest of the meta, like how we have it right now, some get screwed and some get buffed. Like buff wise, Malzahar especially, you have this point and click counter to assassins. You lock them down, you deal damage, and you let your team kill them. It's so sad to play against that. Annie is also notoriously very good against assassins as well because she can burst them down, and Anivia is a bit more niche but good because of her egg. Other mages are going to get worse with this, so like especially mobile ones like Syndra or Victor, wouldn't probably say you want to play them against an assassin. Also Poke. I know Poke isn't like that popular right now, but it's legitimately like a death wish this patch though. Playing Lux or Xerath or Vel'Koz against picks like a Zed or a Talon is asking to have your asshole rearranged. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. It's not very fun unless you're into that sort of thing, but you're probably going to lose a lot of games. Now that pretty much sums up the hidden buffs and nerfs to champions this patch, but to sum it up very very quickly. Bramble Vest, or Thornmail actually, is a pretty good answer to Riven, Fiora, and Yasuo players, especially later into the game when they have a lot of lifesteal. Gargoyle Stoneplate plus the Thornmail together is a ridiculous item combo and probably abused by two different types of champions. One, we have the Jarvan, Jax Kled with Black Cleaver, Titanic, and these two will be really good for damage. And then you have the jungle tanks like Zac, Nunu, Sejuani, and Maokai who build Cinderhulk with them and do even more damage, lasting even longer. AD carries actually might feel the brunt of these changes indirectly this patch actually, so I'd expect Lucian, Jhin, Caitlyn, and Tristana to actually kind of do well out of them. These guys can survive while pumping out damage basically, but Twitch could go either way with Jinx, Draven, and Ashe probably not enjoying it very much. As if I need to say it, but assassins are better this patch. I think Talon probably wins the most, then Zed and Kha'Zix more than others. I reckon the mid lane meta will stay a little bit the same with the most popular champions, but shift to more assassins, safe mages, and assassin counters in my opinion. So if you guys enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching until the very end, but for now, I'll leave you with the robots.